Canon Collective, welcome to the second Clique update. So I'm sitting down with Darren and we're going to talk more about the Clique Awards, and I know you've been excited because the feedback we've got so far has been fantastic. Darren, thank you for sitting down and kind of explaining more. But today I wanted to learn a bit more about the judging process and how that's going to work, because I think that's important for us to understand that.
Yeah, it's really important, and one of the, I guess, the most important aspects of the Clique Awards for us was to create a really robust judging process, which was not just a judging process, but a review process, so that everybody who enters, every picture that gets entered, gets some kind of feedback in terms of where it can improve, its areas of strength and the areas where it could improve.
Because look, I know in other competitions, basically what happens is there's a big culling process. So basically the images come in, somebody, before a judge even sees a picture, someone's made a decision that these pictures don't make the cut. So they get kind of pushed onto the scrap heap, and then some other images move forward to the judge. Is that what's going to happen in Clique?
No, not at all. And what will happen is every single picture that gets entered will be seen by 3 reviewers who will score each picture out of a total of 60 points, but that total of 60 is broken into 6 criteria, and so they'll give out of 10 out of 6 different criteria.
Various. And then between those 3 judges, the scores are then averaged to get your final score.
That's correct. Yeah.
So out of those 6 criteria, what are the criteria that the judges are going to be kind of looking for?
Sure. So we've decided on 6 criteria, which are initial impact. So the wow factor.
You look at the picture, it takes you back. Yep.
And we've also included in there its impact and mood, because sometimes some of the most beautiful pictures are the quiet ones.
Yes.
That they grow on you. So whilst their initial impact might not be great, their mood might create a great picture over time. So impact and mood is 1 score out of 10.
Yep. Because sometimes you can have a great picture you can put on the wall that just sits there and it's just quiet, but you just like having it there.
For sure.
It just has a great feel to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So impact and mood's the first one. The next one is technique.
Yep.
We're interested to see that the camera and the processing, if it's in the edited section, is the work done is appropriately done and done well.
Yes. Yep.
So, it's always a bone of contention. I meant that to be blurry, and blur's fine as long as it's appropriate blur and tells. Well, I think adds to the storytelling of the picture.
Intentional camera movement sometimes is used as a way of actually trying to tell your story or trying to make a point.
So it's a matter of having experienced people look at pictures and look at what is appropriate use of technique.
Yep.
Yeah. Composition, so the makeup, the artistic makeup of the image.
Yep. So we're talking here, the old rule of thirds is kind of the accepted kind of format, but it's always not always what is always looked at.
Certainly, that's one aspect of composition. There's all kinds of other ones, and without going into them all, symmetry is a really important composition tool in the right. Used in the right context. So it's
leading
about
lines, sometimes taking people to.
Sure, there's all kinds of composition techniques which will, when used appropriately, will add to the storytelling of the picture.
Yes.
Yeah. Subject. So, is that a really good representation of a particular subject?
Yep.
So that's an important one.
Yep.
The storytelling, because it's important that images speak to their audience, and so. Storytelling is another criteria, and then the final criteria is innovation or originality, and that's one of the hardest ones for most people to do well in, especially if they're new to photography.
I think you've got a good tip for people who may be trying to work out what's innovative, because sometimes you'll do something that not subconsciously you do, but a lot of people do it. You talked about maybe going to some, looking at some other work to get some ideas. So what type of places could people kind of go and look, do you think, to get some, expand their kind of mind?
I think what we're looking for is, the people doing the scoring of each of the pictures will be very experienced at looking at pictures. And so I'd call that they have a broad visual literacy.
Yes.
And that could be in art and photography, all kinds of areas, but we've got people looking at your pictures that have seen a lot of pictures. So the more pictures you can look at, the more likely you will see pictures that have been done before.
Yes, I suppose it helps you understand how a picture might do better, because if it's kind of is a little bit unique and you haven't seen that type of thing done very much before, and you're kind of, I suppose, we're looking for that, the next big new thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone, and look, people are all the time. We do come across it occasionally, but it's getting, I think, harder and harder because there's so many people out there trying things.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many pictures being taken. It is hard to innovate, but that's, I guess, what sets the best pictures apart. And so I guess you could look at it that if nobody had a lot of innovation in the entries that were in the Clique Awards, we'd all be still competing against each other, just that the scores would all be down a bit lower.
Yes.
Anything with some innovation is going to score higher.
Well, it's going to give you that little bit of an advantage.
Yeah. So,
but I think it's something to strive to as a photographer. I mean, I've got a little motto that I've used for years called, original content creator.
Yeah.
Where what you're trying to create is original.
Yes.
And it's quite hard to do. It
is.
But I think it's a good thing to strive to try and be that original content creator.
For sure. If you think about some of the things that have been, techniques that have been done to death, they're the ones if you've ever heard that term about a picture, you probably should shy away from that picture.
I think so. Look, there's a couple. There's one that comes to mind that it's either it's loved by some, hated by some. Is selective color.
Yes.
Where you convert a picture to black and white, but you highlight parts of the picture, elements of the picture in color. It's a technique. Like I said, I think it's one of those things now. In competitions, it's probably not going to show you in the strongest, best light.
No, and I guess that's where our scoring system, where we break things into the criteria. A picture of a scene of London with a London bus in it.
Yep.
If it had been converted to black and white and the bus left red, it might do really well in 4 of the criteria, but it's not going to do well in innovation.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's, I guess, how the scoring system really helps level things out.
It does, yeah. I think. Look, I think they said it's the whole, I suppose, purpose of the Clique Awards is to help people grow as photographers.
For sure.
So you take away from each of these scores, you can basically then understand where your photography strength lies, and obviously then there's areas of photography that you can look at trying to work on. But I suppose the idea we're doing these Clique updates is going to help people, because quite often there might be people who go and create an image purely for the Clique Awards, and that would be really cool if someone did that. But I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be going for their archives and maybe re-editing or looking at what they've previously done.
Yep.
But this might just help them narrow the field down by looking at what type of images and trying to find that one that has something unique in it. Yeah,
that innovation is always going to help tip you over into the higher scoring. You still have to have good technique and good composition.
You just can't be a one-trick pony.
You can't just have innovation. That's not going to help.
Yeah.
It has to satisfy everything else.
Yes, it's got to be it's got to be rounded. So it's got to have all the elements have to be kind of working in harmony. Yeah,
and of course these scores that that every image will get, it will be those scores that inform our shortlist and our finalists.
Yes.
The final adjudication will have another run over it. So, like the finalists, the winner will be chosen by the panel out of the finalists. It won't necessarily be the highest scoring picture because it does need. That's our opportunity to debate the merits of one picture over another. Somebody thinks it's great. Somebody thinks it's not so great. You can debate it and come to a decision over it. Cool. So it adds the human element, but just at the end, out of the highest scoring pictures. And everybody will get a report card at the end of the competition, which will show you your average scores in each criteria, so you'll be able to know for sure out of 10 how you did in composition and technique, and see where you need to improve.
Yep. So look, as always, the collective invite you now that Darren's unpacked a little bit more about the information in the comments. Drop all your questions in that you may have about the judging criteria, and Darren, myself, or Weaver will better jump in and kind of answer some of those questions for you. And I think the next Clique update we're going to do, we're probably going to talk about the entry process and the portal in the next one.
Yeah, the online entry and how that all works, and what you'll be able to see and do in there.
Excellent. Thanks, Darren. Thanks for coming in and unpacking that. And we'll look forward to your questions, and enjoy your photography.